Hey again guys, today we're just on the BMW F30 the 3 Series. This is a 2017 model. So from 2012 on, it'll be this sort of shape. So just like sort of look, if you go like this, you've got a control knob here, and up here you're going to have, there's 3 different types of screens here, and the screen is like based on the connector and like the back of it, and each one is a different SKU or different product from us. So we just need a check. You can just double check with us, just take a picture of that, all of this and that down there, and we can confirm for you. But there's basically a CIC connector, like an MBT connector, and then there's a combo connector. But if you give us that sort of information, we can check it out. So this car, so obviously BMW have great sound systems just by default. It's got the factory camera, so our system pretty much piggybacks off this main system still, and so you get all your main stuff happening. Plus you get the Android screen, so you get your CarPlay and Android Auto, and if you want to install extra other apps and whatnot on. So that's how that all works, and obviously our steering wheel controls will still work, reverse camera will still work, all your factory options in here, your iDrive stuff's still going to work. And that's about all it has going on. This so USB and auxiliary in here will still work too. We might even have to use that auxiliary in there to get the unit working. Just depends on our harness. Anyway, we'll go through and we'll take this out and we'll show you how you put it in. So the first thing here is this whole bit's going to come off. So we put trim tools in our kit, but you can actually get your finger under here and pull it off just with your hands like this. You can see I'm pulling on the top and bottom. Now just make sure you go and get that in there just by itself, because it's a bit skinny and fragile. Now we come in here and I use a trim tool at the end here, just because obviously the end's a bit skinnier. Now once you have it off, there's a plug going into the back here, so you need to unplug that. So I'll show you these 2 plugs. We've got our 2 plugs in here have to come off, so we'll take off those 2. So I'll just show you, this plug here has a bucket push down on it, and so this plug here actually has a little clip on it. So ideally you pretty much just get a flat head in underneath the bit, and I lift it up and then you pull this out. Just has a little notch you have to get past, so you can just actually, the other bit, the socket there plugs in, you can put a flat head under there and push it back. This little storage bit down here, there's a little hole in here, just put your trim tool in here and you can just pull it out. It's got a small little plug in here, you can unclip that out. So I put the trim tool in that hole and I just levered it out. Really straightforward. Then on here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Torx screws, and we're going to pull this whole part out. So just a Torx bit T15 and undo these 4. Now once it's out, all we want to do is grab this, give it a little pull, it'll come off pretty easy, and you'll see there's a couple plugs here. We can actually leave this bottom one in. We will need to take out this plug here. So again, if you have a look at the side of it, it's the same style as the other one we had before. So again, just put a little flat head in there and lever up the plastic a bit, and that'll allow you to pull it up. You can put it to the side. You can also unplug that if you want to get it out of the way. It's not really critical for us to get it out of the way at the moment. Again, 2 more Torx. T15 again, and they're the same length as the other ones you just took out, so you don't have to worry about confusing them. And then what you'll find is your whole main deck here will pull out, and in the back of here there's a few plugs. So I'll show you how you can do those. There's a big one here that's a cam lock one, so you see I push that in and I lever it open, so you can see how that one popped off, and then I'll show you the rest in here. So that is the main one we're after here, and we'll show you. So you just have to push in the sides here. Sorry if you can see that. There's so I push in the sides and lever back that cam lock, it'll pop out. Then what we want to do is we want to come to our top screen here, and you can see we've got our 2 Torx again. Pop both of those off. You can see in here, 1, 2, and then this whole screen will pull out. These ones are a bit different, so put those in a different spot, and careful to drop them down, and you'll find the screen just pulls out, and then in the back of it you got to get these plugs out. Now sometimes you can get a bit more, I'll show you. So we've got to get a few plugs out of the back there. We'll unplug both of those. So that's the plug there out of our screen here, out of that little plug there. Now to get this out, these are always a little bit sticky, so obviously you press down the latch here, and then if you get a flat head or your trim tool in the little gap and lever it out, it's quite tight, but just get the trim tool in there and hold the latch down, just lever it out a bit, and it will pop out. So just cover what you get in the kit here. Obviously the main screen You have your like plugs in the back. That's your main MBT plug. That's we call those our auxiliary plugs, and a 4G antenna, a small speaker horn, a Wi-Fi antenna, a GPS antenna, 2 USBs, a USB like flash drive for like updates, a hydration assistant, a factory camera, actually a secondary camera input. We do actually include over here, there's actually an AHD 1080p camera that comes in the kit, because some models might not have the factory reverse camera in, so we do include that. And then we got our main harness and our trim removal tools. So that's everything we have in the kit. The first thing we have to do here is, in this big plug here, you'll see you've got these 2 like circle ones. We got to pop that out. So if you get to like the back of the plug, you can see if you just lift up this little tab, you can pop them out. So we pull that tab up and pull these back. Try and get it a bit closer so you can actually see what I'm doing here. So these 2 circle ones, a little tab holding them in. So if you lever up that and then you pull them out, freehand job like that, you'll see that comes out. Now that here, we are going to be like needing that. We pull that out. So what I've done here is I've chopped a bit of this tape back on here just to allow me to pull out this twin optical cable we just popped out. So we take this, and we've got that. We grab our big adapter one, and what we want to do is we want to slide that into the same holes it was in, just how it was like it was in before. So basically plug it straight in, it'll clip in, and now it's in there like that. So that's how that goes. Then what we want to do is we just want to pretty much test everything. So we grab this again, just like make sure they kind of go in okay. Like if it feels a bit hard, just double check that they haven't bent any of the pins in here. It should go in reasonably easy. So obviously you need to pop the cam lock little thing back first, line it up how it's supposed to be, and should be able to slide it in like that, and the cam lock should click shut, and that's plugged in. Then we take our other end here, and it's a bit, I'll just clear these out so they're out of the way. That's our auxiliary, that's fine. Put those out of the way. This here is going to go back into the back of our head unit that we just took it out of. So again, you got to pop your cam lock up and get it out. So it's got a small little latch underneath you have to push down, and then turn it around. It's all a bit tight at the moment. These installs normally are a bit tight on these BMWs, but basically line that up, push it in, and then clip your cam lock shut. So that's that done. Then we're going to plug in our screen, and we're just going to check that we have our power happening. So we've got the screen, and we just need to plug in a few plugs. So one of them is one of these. You can probably pull this one through here for now, just to give yourself a bit more room to test it. Flip down, and you've got a little bit more space. This plugs into here, obviously. It can only plug in how it can plug in. So that one pushes in, and then we've got our big one pushes into our top plug here, like so. So that's pushed in. Then what we want to do is going to turn the car on. Keys up here. Can you get the keys? It'll help. So you can see it's powered on. Now I've just put it in reverse here. Just wanted to check our reverse cameras up working. So you can see that reverse camera's all working okay. It's over onto. It's fine. We just need to change it to the factory camera. All your like beepers are still working. So that's it. So you can see we're like powered up here. If you touch your like center control down here, let's just push like radio. It's going to take you back into the like main menu. So like radio's working, our steering wheel controls are working, sounds okay, that's what we want to see. Now if you touch the screen, that takes you back to like your Android. So they're basically, to get between them, you sort of, well, you can touch like mode on the steering wheel or touch the screen. It's up to you, you can still learn to use it. But anyway, what we wanted to check is that we had sound, radio, a reverse camera. Then the only other thing you want to check is that you have sound coming through here. Now you might just have to pair your phone up to it, which we'll do now, and we'll just check that, because I normally like to check our like phone quality for calls and like music. Just a little like setting change we had to make to here, like setting. If you have the factory like camera, just click on camera and then turn original camera on. You'll see otherwise it'll do what it did before, where it showed a blank screen. But you can see, yep, cool, there's our camera, and there's our camera off. So just if you have like a factory camera, just like make sure you've set that on. And now we're going to hook our phone. So if you come into like the unit here, come into Bluetooth, depending on what phone you have, you probably have to turn your like Bluetooth on and back off, and then scroll down and find that big name. So you can see, I'll drop my phone down the side. You can see I've paired to that, pair, allow, and you'll see, okay, so we're hooked over like Bluetooth now. and we should get like something else asking us if we want to use a CarPlay soon, hopefully. If we don't the first time, we might just have to manually come in here. What are we looking for? Apps. We can add this to the home screen in a second, but Z-Link 5 is the one you're after. We're connected. You can see something's happening now. So use CarPlay on your phone. Now when you jump in, this should automatically boot up like this. It's just the first time takes a bit of time. Now there you go. So now we've got our CarPlay coming up. Now if you push sound on there, you'll probably find, yeah, as expected, no sound because we have to plug our auxiliary cable in. So we just wanted to test that too. And the other thing we test is we just make a phone call just to make sure that the microphone sounds okay. So we have to take out auxiliary here and we have to plug it into the auxiliary port in here. That's just how these work because we're backing off the old system. It'd be like nice if it didn't have to be like this. There's a better way to integrate it, but it's the way it is. So auxiliary into there. Now, this is like why you can run an extension. We'll actually include extension in our future kits. So you can choose how you run that. You can try and run it like a bit more tidy out the back. We normally actually just end up taking it out of this side and up like the side here. That way we don't have to cut any holes or anything. But you should find now what you have to do is go back to your main screen. Choose auxiliary because that is what we're using. Now if you come back in here and you go into Spotify, go into here and push play, you should find you've got sound coming through. So that's how that works. So you have to put it into the auxiliary because that's how unit gets sound to the factory sound system. So we've basically tested everything's working now. We can head through and do the next thing. So what I did just then is I called someone. And I just did a test call with the car running and they said it was better with the external mic plugged in. So we should have these included in our kit. So just do a test call, try with and without. It seems with these ones on the BMW that it works better with the external mic. So we'll use this and we'll plug it in. So that's that. So pretty much we've tested everything now. Now we can go and run all the cables where they need to go and sort things out. So now what we do is you've got to run the cable. So obviously the screen goes in the top. Then going into the screen we've got like this. So I've ran this back up. We have to get this part through there too, because that goes into the back of the unit. Also have to get our GPS in there. So you run the GPS because that means obviously because the unit runs Android as a base, you can install the offline maps and whatnot on there. It also can give you GPS speed and other things for it. So all you do is you peel the stick pad off that and you're just trying to find somewhere under the dash with no steel above it to stick it on. So as long as you're getting a good view through the window, then that's all good. And obviously that cable is going to have to come up that same hole again. So find a good spot for that. I've just stuck it under the dash here because obviously straight up is the sky through the windscreen, no metal above it. Pull yourself enough through so you can obviously sort of run this cable up and through there, and the excess can just be tucked down there. So we need a bit more, and then we can tuck the excess out of the way, and we can run that. Remember, you got to go around your air con vents, and it's got to come up through the same hole here, like so. GPS, Wi-Fi antenna. Again, just needs to stick somewhere. That's okay. Again, I would probably stick it over by somewhere where you just put that GPS if you can fit it in there. And you're going to just need a little bit of length on it again. So you can actually undo these and unbundle them, then actually tape them up. So again, stick pad, just look for a good spot to stick it. It could also even, obviously needs to be flat. I'm going to stick it down here. It doesn't actually, because it's just your other Wi-Fi antenna, it doesn't actually have to have a view of the sky or anything. It's actually just used for the devices like Wi-Fi hotspot, which I do use for CarPlay, so you do want it to be in a reasonably good spot. Pull like that one through, and again we will tape up this slot and we'll tuck it down there. Then we've got our two USBs that also plug into the top one. This just means you can add extra things to it or update like the software. So majority of the time it's not too easy to get into the dash, because obviously the best place to put those is probably into the glove box. So we'll try and run those through to there. So for the USBs, there's a small little a gap in here, but it had a bridge in between it. So I just trimmed down that little bit on one side, and I'll actually be able to push it back up. But that just allowed me to put the USB cables tidily through there, and then I just ran them along here and back out our hole up the top. So the mic we've run, so we started here. You can actually just use your trim tool here and I lever up that with your trim tool, just like that, and then I just like tucked it in here. I got it around here, so I didn't have to take off any of this trim. I pop this out with a trim tool, so you just lever in here, and that'll like pop out. I'll like run the cable through here, I'll tuck it into there, and then I just like you can use a screwdriver or a piece of like wire or something. I poked it through and I hooked it on here. I pulled it through to here, and then I like pushed the underneath the steering wheel, and then I like microphone up to here. So that was pretty easy to get in, didn't have to take off any of the trim, and that's the external mic all in. I've just taped these up because we're not like sort of using them, but if you are using our aftermarket camera, the yellow RCA is going to go into here. The car should pick up the trigger automatically because it has that in it. So your green trigger wire can actually hook to our like ACC power source here, and you can power the camera from here. Because if you powered off the tail lights on, so normally in these cars you've got to put a relay in because it like drops the voltage, that'll give you an issue. So the green trigger wire on the reverse cam onto here, the RCA onto here, and then at the other end you'll probably find the a camera will power up, or if it doesn't at the other end you seem to like earth it. So this is only if you are using the aftermarket camera. Basically, otherwise you can just tape these up. Actually, and like sorry, don't use the ACC power source. Use this CCD 12 volt, the blue one. So this like blue one will go to our green trigger wire, and then the RCA will go into here. This power source is if you just want to run something else off here. You could use it for a 12 volt. And then that will be the reverse in trigger, but pretty much all these cars like this will pick it up automatically. So you look, see, if you didn't have a reverse camera, even when you like test it and put it in reverse, the screen would change. But if it didn't change, then again you could use a reverse trigger. Then I've like run that cable up the top now. External mic's hooked in, I've taped up some of the others. Now we've just got our little external speaker. This you can just run in and put down below. So after we put in like this, we can probably start to tidy up all the wires. So this here plugs into here. So I would pass the plug up to here, like so. Oh, I won't. There we go. And I would just, there's a stick pad on the back, just like stick it out of the way to this side somewhere. But basically it just plugs into here like so, and that's that. Pull that back through, peel your stick pad off, and just stick it down there out of the way somewhere, and then we can tidy that up in a second as well. But as long as it's stuck down here out of the way, cause us any dramas. Right, so that's basically everything apart from our auxiliary. So auxiliary here, got to get back to here again. So we will tuck it down and run it out this side here and up above along here, and we'll probably have to add an extension to it. So like this model actually has a bit of like room in here, which is quite good, but hopefully you can like see in here. So the whole point is to get, actually next to it so we get a bit of light in there, is to get that piggyback cable to tuck down, and like so obviously on the back here you want to like bend down, and then it comes back up through. Now the auxiliary I popped down there, and I ran out like the side here. So what we will do is we'll just run it along to here, and then like pop it up into the box here, into the auxiliary plug. That's basically everything really. So what you want to do now is you want to just get everything sort of in here and just slowly push this back in to see how it's all going to fit, because that's half the challenge on these ones. And then it helps if you just give it a pull sometimes at the bottom of your hand. Okay, and that's actually quite like roomy in here, which is quite good. Obviously make sure you have your plugs 1, 2, 3 that you like need out. And then what we'll do is we'll go and put on the screen, and we'll test everything still works, because that's always something you want to do before you get too carried away, is test it all works. So we've got our USB, this is our GPS. You can see I tape these a bit. The whole point of taping them up is just to actually allow them to slide back down a bit like so a lot easier when they have to push back down into here. And we got a Wi-Fi one here. It's just a screw-on SMA type one, so just do that up hand tight all the way, like so. Get that and that. That's not what we need. We need this for sure, and we need this for sure. So these ones where you have to sort of get up here and get a bit close and plug them in, because you don't have too much like length on them. Like that. And then we just want to test it all still works. So now you just want to like put it in, just like check all your things still working, reverse camera, etc, etc. So we can see we've got our CarPlay's working. You can see reverse camera hasn't saved the settings, so we'll just come into here again. Set up camera. There's on original camera. But look, right, we'll just check. That was a bit strange that how it didn't do it the first time. So you want to check. So you got your reverse camera working. got your factory one working, your steering wheel controls are working. Come into here, you've got your CarPlay working. Obviously we haven't got our auxiliary plugged in, we need to plug in like that to have sound. But pretty much all that is working. So you can pretty much go and like pull the screen down now. So it's got like 2 clips in the back, if like match up, clip those in. And then you've got your 2 in the front, which you can just use your 2 screws you took out to put back in. So put these 2 screws back in. It's a good time like now to also do like another phone call if you want to do that, because that way you know for sure it's all good before you go and put it all back together. So if you just do these in sort of up to there and then give it a good push down and get that one to sort of hold, and then go into the other one into here. Sorry, that other screw is giving me the shits, but anyway, you just like push it down and then like tighten it up. That's basically all of that. Make sure your wires run down around your air con vents, because obviously that's where they need to be. This one here has got your 2 screws again. Put these in. That all pretty much goes in back to how you did it before now. That's it. All looking pretty good. And then just remember you got this one here had some plugs, so don't forget to put your plug back in for your AC control. And this will just slot back into how it was before, like that. And you got your 4 other screws to go in there. So those are all done up, and you've got your small, this one's clipped into here, remember? So clip it back in how it was. So there. Sorry, we go this way. Clips in. All looking pretty good. We just have to go through and stick on our AC panel back in, but you can see the unit's all looking pretty good in there. And then the last piece to put back in after you've tested it and you're happy with how it's all going is obviously this here. You just had that plug into the hazard switch plug and the other plug. And once those 2 plugs are back in, obviously just line this up. Again, these are clips, so they'll only clip in how they can go in. So once you've got it lined up, they should go in nicely. And if they don't, double check you have them in the right spots. Obviously the buttons are working, better push down. That's it, it's still done. So you've got like wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. All your factory options are still going to work. Steering wheel control still works. Factory reverse camera still works. Obviously the unit runs Android. Plus you can treat it's like a tablet. You got like the Play Store on here, like an Android tablet. You can install whatever apps you want. There's a 4G SIM in the car in the back, so you can like put that in. And that's basically it, and still done. Alright, actually looking very good, and it just pretty much looks like factory. The install's not hard. Probably give yourself a couple of hours to do it. 1 being easy, like 5 being hard. It's probably only a 2. It isn't that difficult at all. You just need to know how to use a screwdriver and just like run those like cables down. And it's actually quite like roomy behind this model, which is good. Like some of them aren't that roomy, so that's all good. And obviously we put our like USBs in there and all good to go.